Welcome to MMA Dogs. My name is Hector. This is my dog Dan.
Hi.
And we are in Las Vegas, the home of the UFC
and the mecca of MMA.
In our opinion, and we've talked about this before. What do you got, dog?
Yeah, we both agree on this. They go out there and finish a fight early in the first round, but don't get caught speeding. Don't get caught speeding on this fight.
They're against a guy who just got bit by a dog with rabies or something.
For me, it's do not bet.
And betting advice: do not bet.
But it's going to be one of those things, guys. I really feel it.
It's unanimous. MMA Dogs have spoken.
5-star, and that's going to be a knockout. Just something to highlight the night.
MMADogs.com. MMADAWGS.com. Who's ready to make some money? I know we are. If you're ready to consistently profit over and over again, you've come to the right place. Now let's go to my dog Hector from America's finest city.
Welcome to MMA Dogs. My name is Hector, and I want to give a big thank you to all of our clients. So let's get this show on the road. Let's get this party started. We got the Ultimate Fighter Nations finale. So, of course, we had Canada versus Team Australia. And now we got these two teams going up head-to-head. But, you know, of course, it's going to be an all Canada for the finale, so that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, so we got the homework done. It's time to turn it in and time to take the test. So let's go ahead and get this party started. So we have 13 fights. We've got 26 fighters. Wow, that is a lot of fight footage to watch, a lot of research to do, but in the end, it's going to be all worth it. So let's take a look at the first fight. Oh, before I get started, you never want to bet more than you can afford to lose. You know, you want to go into this with a game plan. You want to be smart about it. You know, just like a fighter with a game plan. You want to have been training for it. You want to have everything on your side, so that you most improve your probabilities of winning. And for that, you can go to our website, MMADogs.com, DAWGS.com. So never bet more than you can afford to lose. And then the second thing is always check your local laws. And last but not least, much respect to all the fighters, men or women, you know, going in there fighting, because that takes a lot of guts. So we got Mitch Gagnon, the Canadian, against Timmy Gorman. And this is a very, very interesting fight. It's interesting that the UFC puts Gorman in there against a UFC vet like Gagnon. So with Gorman, we have a fighter who competed in the Ultimate Fighter, but he got injured, so he had to go home. I believe he tore a hamstring, and he was telling Dana White, no, I still want to fight. And Dana White told him, no, you can't fight. You know, it's you got to go home. But he's making his real UFC debut, and he's been training at Alliance here in San Diego. So that'll be interesting. He's aggressive. He's well-rounded. But in this spot, it's too much too soon. And with Mitch Gagnon, you know, we know he's very aggressive, explosive. He has submissions. That's what he likes to go for. But his gas tank, you know, is lacking. And but he is in Canada, so he is at home. The price that's on Gagnon, the price that we would have to lay on Gagnon is way much too high for a one-trick pony of sorts. You know, like I said, much respect to all these guys, but when it comes down to our hard-earned dollar, you know, and investing our hard-earned dollar, we got to be realistic about it. And the price on Gagnon right now is just way too high. So as far as a bet goes, I am not betting this fight. I am not recommending betting on this fight. But as far as the pick goes, it'll be Mitch Gagnon. Now, something to keep in mind when it's a pick, I mean, if you take a look at the 5 stars, those are 100%. The 4-star, my 4-star picks are in the 80s, 80%, 83, 84%. And then the 3-star picks are in the 60%. I think it's like 64, 63%, somewhere around there. So if it's a pick, it's going to be even lower than that. Sometimes picks are it. Sometimes they're not. But it's just a pick. And if I say it's a do not bet, I recommend passing on it. So it's a do not bet. So Mitch Gagnon for the pick, but it's a do not bet. And then moving on to the next fight. This one, we have a pair of Australian fighters here. So we got Walsh versus Indic. With Indic, Team Australia. So Team Australia versus Team Australia. They're both making their UFC debut. Evenly matched, although I favor Walsh. And with Walsh, he's got a big price tag on him as well. And anytime we get these guys who are making their debuts in the UFC, it can be the first time octagon jitters. It can be that they've improved drastically, so it's not going to reflect in the fight footage. I mean, there's so many different things that could go wrong, and it's basically like you're playing Russian roulette with these guys. So I'm going to recommend passing on this fight as well. But with Indic, he's got decent striking. His striking is pretty good. So he should keep this fight standing because that's the one advantage he does have. And with Walsh, also well-rounded, but in this fight, he should use his size to clinch and to outpower his opponent. So for the pick, I am going to go with Walsh. But as far as a bet goes, it's a complete pass. No bet on this fight. But Walsh for the win. And then for the next fight, we have Taleb versus Grujic. Now with Grujic, he's 37 years old, making his UFC debut. Of course, he fought on The Ultimate Fighter, and it's just a little too late for him. A little too late. And he's been training at Alliance, but that's not going to be enough to turn it around for him. With Nordine Taleb, we know he trains at TriStar, and with GSP and Rory and all those beasts over there. And Taleb, for me, is going to be able to win this fight anywhere he wants. Just about anywhere he wants in the octagon, really. I was very close to pulling the trigger on him. But ultimately, like I said, with these guys coming in, they can be unpredictable. And a lot of these guys, they're not gonna last. They're not in that level of they're not at that level yet to where we can bet our hard-earned money on. So it's going to be a pass, but I think Nordine can win this fight anywhere he wants, unless he has a brain fart, which we've seen from guys, a big old foo bar in the octagon. So it's a pass for a bet, but Taleb for the pick. Now this one, woo-hoo-wee. This one I am betting. I am advising to bet this fight, and the hard-earned dollar is going to go on Mark Bocek here. So we got Bocek versus De La Torre. De La Torre here taking the fight on short notice. He usually fights at 145. That's 2 big old strikes against him. And then the other thing is, he does train at MMA Lab, but it's going to be too little, and it's going to be a little too late here. He came into the weigh-in weighing at 146, looking like he had a bad weight cut, was out of shape. I'm not liking what I see out of this guy. So that makes it that much easier for me to pull the trigger on Mark Bocek. So Mark Bocek, we know what we get out of Mark Bocek. Hard grinder, excellent jiu-jitsu, just a hard-nosed guy, very smart, intelligent guy in and out of the octagon, very reliable, somebody that I want to invest my hard-earned money on. So Mark Bocek for the bet and Mark Bocek for the pick. Mark Bocek could get the finish. He should get the finish in here, and I think he will. I think he will break De La Torre. I think he will break him, probably in the second or third round. But I'll get into the bets in a little while. But definitely Mark Bocek. One more thing to note on that. He should finish him, but there are some better spots to bet. I believe his inside the distance is around -127, -130-ish range. It's tempting, but if Mark Bocek, because he's had a layoff, goes in there and decides to play it safe and get a decision, that could happen too. So almost tempted to pull the trigger on the prop, but I'm gonna pass on it. And for the next fight, we got Roop versus Kimura. Now this is a very interesting fight. Back and forth on it. I've been back and forth. You know, what are the advantages this guy has over the other? Back and forth, back and forth. The bottom line is Kimura, in all of his UFC fights, he's been in a lot of trouble. And he has shown us flashes of potential, flashes of serious potential. And ultimately, though, excuse me. Ultimately, though, you know, it's too early for me in the game to say, hey, this guy, he's a real deal. He's worthy of my hard-earned dollar. And with Roop, with him, you know, he's going to have a big size advantage, reach, size advantage. And with Kimura having good jiu-jitsu but not good wrestling, it's going to be hard for him to take Roop down. And like I said, with Roop with that reach and length and, you know, ability to be able to outstrike Kimura, it's a very interesting matchup. If I have to pick a guy, I would say Roop will win the fight. Roop has the in my opinion, you know, he has the edge, a big enough edge to where he will win the fight. But it's very difficult to predict. I say do not bet. Don't even, I mean, with so many fight cards coming up and so many things in the future for us, you know, there's guys to put our hard-earned dollar on, to invest it in some other guys. So I do predict Roop will win the fight, but it's not like some confident thing. You know, it's not not even a 3-star pick. So it's a pass, but Roop for the win. For the next one, we've got a guy that I do not trust with my hard-earned dollar. This guy, Ryan Jimmo versus O'Connell. So O'Connell is taking the fight on short notice. He does train with Jeremy Horn. Ryan Jimmo, we know what Ryan Jimmo's all about. You know, this guy who can knock somebody out, but sometimes he wins a decision. He's just to me, not a guy that I trust with my money. So the pick will definitely be Ryan Jimmo, of course. But man, what a total pass of a fight here for me. There's some much better spots coming up. Kaufman versus Smith. Smith taking the fight on 8 days' notice. They've already fought and Smith lost. Some people will say that Smith won the fight. Very close fight. And with Kaufman, you know, she was supposed to fight a couple of other girls, and they got injured, and you know, so she ended up taking the fight against Smith. So I do favor Kaufman in this fight. I feel comfortable picking Kaufman here, but I'm not anxious or eager to bet this fight. For the next one, Sam Stout versus Nunes. Man, talk about guys here who are just hard to trust with our money. Here we go. Two guys, Stout and Nunes, supposed to fight at 155. They both agreed to fight at 170. Do not bet. If I had to pick a winner and I had to place a bet, it would be on Stout. If I had to place a bet, it would be on Stout because he's at home. You know, he's fighting in Canada, a decision fighter against another decision fighter, Nunes. Stout could use his wrestling if he wanted to. I don't know if he will. I wouldn't be surprised if these guys go out there and they just try to put on a show. And Nunes, I believe, is done. Stout is not that much farther away from him. You know, these guys have one foot in the grave and the other foot on a banana peel. So to quote Joey Coco Diaz, my favorite comedian, you know, it's just one foot in the grave, one foot in the banana peel. I mean, these guys are just done. I do favor Stout, so Stout will be the pick. But, oh, man, do not bet. Now, here we go, baby. Dustin Poirier versus Corassani, Akira Corassani. So with this one, I am betting the farm on Dustin Poirier. The odds are steep, but that's the price you have to pay when you get a guy who is such a talent like Dustin Poirier. I bet him against Diego Brandao, 7 units. You know, big bet on Dustin Poirier, came through like a champ, and I just see a lot in Dustin Poirier. With Corassani, some people call him lucky. undeserving, whatever. You know, the guy's rattled off his wins, but this is where he meets a wall, and Dustin Poirier is going to finish him. And I have a lot to look forward to here with Dustin Poirier. 4 more to go, 4 more fights. So this next one is Aubin-Mercier versus Laprise. Laprise, both undefeated, both making their debuts, both fought on The Ultimate Fighter. Laprise 7-0. This matchup was going to be a striker versus grappler. Simple as that. Laprise is going to want to keep it on the feet, and Olivier Aubin-Mercier, he's going to want to take it to the ground. And I believe Mercier will take it to the ground. He's got excellent jiu-jitsu, very good judo. He's going to go for the takedown, control him on the mat, and then submit him. So I am going with Olivier Aubin-Mercier, or however he pronounces his name. If this is also very close. If I had to make a bet, and I don't, but if I had to make a bet, it would be on Olivier Aubin-Mercier. So I like what I see from this guy, and I have faith that he'll get the victory. And the other finale, we got Westcott versus Theodorou. So Theodorou is a true 185, true middleweight. He's a big prospect out of Canada, very well rounded. But in this case, I think he's taking Sheldon Westcott a little bit too lightly. And with Westcott, we have a welterweight fighting at middleweight. So, I don't like that. We have a guy who has excellent submissions. That's what he's going to try and go for, the takedown, the submission. He's a smart fighter, and he's going to have to get the fight to the ground. So once again, although Theodorou just isn't only a striker, it's going to essentially be another striker versus grappler matchup. Now with this one, I'm going to go with Westcott. So it's a slight dog, a slight upset. I'm not going to bet it. It's a do not bet for me. If I had to, it would be on Westcott. But actually, this one I wouldn't bet at all. And even if I had to, I wouldn't want to bet this fight at all. I don't think Theodorou. I don't think he has what it takes to make it in the UFC. Not yet, anyways. I don't think Westcott's all that great either. But somebody's gonna have to win the fight, and I'm gonna go with Westcott. Now, these next 2 fights are very interesting fights here. We have Noke versus Cote. So Patrick Cote versus Noke. Cote hasn't fought in a year. And in my opinion, he's not the same fighter that he was. So that chin isn't as good as it used to be. And he's not the same fighter that we saw fight, to get the title shot against Anderson Silva and all that. It's not the same guy. With Kyle Noke, he hasn't fought in over a year also. Longer layoff than Cote, but he does train at Greg Jackson's camp with Tim Kennedy, who's fighting in the next fight, John Jones, and all those beasts over there. At this point, I think Kyle Noke beats Cote anywhere he wants. I was very close to making this a 3-star pick, so it's definitely a lean. But I can't do it because, the percentages just show me that when I have a certain confidence in a pick, there's a certain probability that it's going to hit or it's not. So I can't advise betting it. If I had to bet it, it would be a bet on Noke. It's pretty much a pick'em fight, and Noke for the win. And last but not least, the main event, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Bisping versus Tim Kennedy. So Bisping has been out for a year because he had that eye injury. He had to have multiple surgeries on that eye. And I know what Michael Bisping says. I know what the doctors say. But my question is, will he be the same fighter? Because you can tell that there's something going on with that eye even now. And I'm just thinking to myself, wow, when you're a mixed martial artist in the UFC, and eyesight is one of those things that you just have to have. I mean, I am very, very surprised and very, very confused as to why a fighter would go into the octagon with contact lenses in. if you're a fighter, one of the first things you got to invest in is in that surgery, the LASIK surgery, to get your eye vision corrected. And so the eyes are nothing to take lightly. And I personally don't believe that Michael Bisping is going to be the same fighter that he was. I mean, imagine one of those heavy hands of Tim Kennedy landing on that face, landing, whether it's on purpose or not, landing near that eye, getting around that eye. I don't care what the doctors say. I don't care what, the experts or what say. Once one of those punches touches that guy's face, man, it is bad news. And I feel bad for Michael Bisping. Maybe he'll win the fight, maybe he won't. But I don't think he's going to be the same fighter. I think that mentally, psychologically, his confidence, I don't think it's the same. And because of that reason, I am going to go with Tim Kennedy. Tim Kennedy, he's on the rise. He's a very durable fighter. And he's very tough, very durable, in and out of the octagon. You can see it from his last fight. He had a leg injury, I think a quad tear, something crazy. He went out there, knocked out Sapo Natal. And Sapo Natal's not the best fighter. He's not even as good as Michael Bisping was. But like I said, I don't believe Michael Bisping's going to be the same fighter. Tim Kennedy, Greg Jackson's camp, just getting better and better and better. He asked for this fight. Tim Kennedy asked for this fight. He wanted Michael Bisping. A lot of guys asked for Michael Bisping, but Tim Kennedy's actually going to get to fight him. So, his confidence level is going to be up. And the same time that Bisping has fought one fight, this guy's had nearly 3 fights already. So Tim Kennedy's just on a roll. I love Tim Kennedy here. I can't believe the price that we're going to get him at. So I'm going to bet Tim Kennedy. So here we go. And I like Michael Bisping. All right, so that's I have nothing. A lot of times people will pick based off of who they like, and that's not the case at all. I like Michael Bisping. Michael Bisping was one of the first supporters that we had on our MMA Dogs account. So actually, he was the first supporter that we had. So it pains me to pick against him, but ultimately, it's a fight, and this is the job that these guys signed up for. So it is what it is. So MMA Dogs 5-star pick. Ow! My 5-star pick of the night. Dustin Poirier, and I'm very, very excited for this one. Super excited. And we'll go over the bets here in a second. 4 stars, Mark Bocek. Very confident in both of these guys. 3 stars, Dustin Poirier inside the distance. Very confident in that pick. And also the 4th and last pick, Tim Kennedy. Straight up. So the bets are going to be a parlay, a 2-leg parlay of Dustin Poirier at minus 840. Wow. Plus Mark Bocek at minus 545. That gives us minus 308. I feel very confident, like I said, in it based off of, lots and lots of statistics and track record and this and that and all that. So 6 units to win 1.95 units. So 6 to win nearly 2. It is what it is. Dustin Poirier inside the distance at minus 186. 4 units to win 2.15. Tim Kennedy at plus 180. 2.5 units to win 4.5 units. And Tim Kennedy inside the distance, a half unit to win 2.31 units. So Dustin Poirier inside the distance is minus 186. Tim Kennedy is plus 180. And Tim Kennedy inside the distance at plus 461. Plus 461, Tim Kennedy inside the distance. So half a unit will get us 2.31 units. Knock on wood, knock, 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 knock. So that's a total of 13 units to win 10.91 units. So I'm looking forward to this event. I wish there were more fights that we could bet on, but we have to stay disciplined. We have to stay really just on track, focused, and really, really sift through all these different types of fighters and bets and unproven guys. Especially these Ultimate Fighter finales are always tough because these guys come in here, as a big dog or as a big favorite, and they perform just like the opposite. So we have to go with what's proven. So we're taking two solid, heavy favorites. And a lot of times when they're favorites, they're not even worthy of pulling the trigger on, like Honey Marks. What did I tell you guys about Honey Marks? Do not bet. And sure enough, he goes out there and gets upset. Now, if you go thinking, well, every time there's a heavy favorite, I'm going to bet the dog, you're going to lose your bankroll doing that. So you really have to pick and choose who. You have to be familiar with the fighter. You have to know. It's a whole process, guys. And then we got a nice dog in Tim Kennedy. It's in this fight, to me, should be closer to a pick'em. It really should. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. So check out our website, MMADAWGS.com. We do this all on our own. So my dog and I, that's it. No big company behind us. No big sports book. Nobody telling us what to do. Nobody telling us jump, and we say how high. None of that shit. We're doing it our own way because that's the way we want it. And a big thank you once again to all of our clients. We really appreciate your business. And for you guys on the fence who are wondering about it, profit guaranteed or your money back, and the next card is for free. So if you don't profit, not only do I give you your money back, but I'll also work for free on the next card. So that's how confident I am in my abilities. And that's it. I'm working towards the next card and making more profit for us and for you guys, and let's go get this money. So I'll talk to you guys real soon, and hopefully I'll see you on Friday night, Saturday morning, and you guys have yourself a good couple days. See you later.
Nobody likes to lose, so be done letting that money burn its way through your pockets. Slow down, get ready. We are so confident that you will profit from our picks that if you don't, we will refund your money and give you the next card on us. In order to profit in the long run, it's important to be consistent with our picks. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was Vegas. MMADogs.com. Profit guaranteed.
MMA.